You see, our weakness in knowing God's decreed will many times can sideline us from praying, but we continue to plea with God. But understand something, your plea does not define his decree. And I love this. This is an incredible promise, an incredible thing we can anchor ourselves in today. I've heard it said that God's will. God's will. So you're in the room today, and I'll explain this. You're in the room today, and you say, man, I've been praying. I've got this illness, this thing that's sidelines really rocked my whole family, and I've been praying consistently, praying and pleading with the Lord that he would heal me, that he'd get me back on my feet. But then you go and get another screening, and the sickness has just progressed. It's just gotten worse. God didn't hear me. He heard you. But he answered you in accordance with his will. See, God's will. You've been praying, your job is on the line, and you've been praying that God would help you to keep it. And let me help you understand something, guys. There's nothing wrong with these prayers. These are very real prayers. I mean, God, help me to keep my job, help keep my kids safe. God, protect my marriage, it's on the rocks. All these things that you might be praying, and you might not get the answers that you want. And then many times our natural inclination is to point the finger. God said, you never heard me, you weren't home. Check your answering machine. No, God picked up. God heard you, and he answered you. Not in accordance with your will, but his. You see, God's will. It will be done. And this is the encouragement today, is that your prayer life is far more about your content, your commitment than your content. It's so much more about you just committing and pressing into God, saying, God, I don't know what you'll have with this situation. I don't know why you've got me walking in this valley today. I don't know why you've put my marriage on the rocks, or why my sin has put our marriage on the rocks. I don't know why you've not delivered me out of this yet. God, I don't know why I'm in this situation with financial stress or career frustration or parenting problems that you're all walking in. I don't know where you're at today. You've come in here with some stuff today, but here's what the encouragement is that your prayer life has never been about your commitment, your content. It has always been about your commitment. God is not looking for someone who is strong or someone with swagger. What God is looking for is someone who surrenders. And as we surrender to him, as we come to God and say, God, I'm in this situation. Like Monica, my son is far from you. Protect him. You pray, and then you trust. Trust that the Lord is communicating your deepest desire, not just in a way that is more eloquent than your speech, but in a way that is reoriented, realigned, and fixed to the will of God. And here's why this is so important that this happens this way. Because your prayer is communicated in perfect alignment and in sync with God's will. The answer to that prayer is always yes. Do you understand that? The answer to that prayer is always yes. That doesn't mean your prayer is yes. That means the prayer that the Holy Spirit interceded and uttered on your behalf is always yes. And so the incredible encouragement today, this is why this should be such an uplifting thought today. So we can't mess up. We can't mess up. And it doesn't matter what we plead. It doesn't matter how much we try. It doesn't matter if we cry. God's will. God's will.